Hello, hello. Good morning. I hope everybody is doing well today. I have come to share something a bit messy with you. We're basically just going to make some backgrounds, really straightforward backgrounds that you can use. You can use these as journal pages, you can use them as the backgrounds for tags, you can use them for ATC cards, anything you want. And it's really easy and it's really quick. All you're going to need is some kind of polythene plastic sheet. Old packaging works brilliantly for this. This is an old document sleeve that I've just cut in half because I have millions of them, and you can even use cling film if you wrap a piece of board with cling film. Now I got these, they're kind of Copic markers equivalents, really cheap from Amazon. I've got two different brands in here, Touch 3 and Tinge. They're all very cheap. So I have a second set, long story, not going to go into it now, but that set is not, it's not as full as this set. This is the set that I'm going to use today. So the other thing you'll need is some cardstock. Now this works really well on a thinner paper as well. I'm just using cardstock because that's what I want to use for the project I'm going to do. So all you do pretty much is pick your colours. There are probably people who do these kind of tutorials much more skillfully than I do. This is something I used to teach, so I'm just going to teach this in the way that I used to teach my students. The thing when you teach art is you kind of need to be a jack of all trades and a master at none, or one would be good, but I was teaching several different types of art and my specialism was photography, so this is stuff that I dabble in but am not an expert in. Now this, I'm just literally colouring in my plastic with various colours. You don't have to apply an absolute ton of colour and you don't have to apply it everywhere. Play around with it, you'll get different effects. You can even draw kind of flower patterns. It's not going to come out as a flower, obviously. I'm just going to take my spray bottle and I'm going to get this wet. Quite wet. The wetter the better. And you'll be able to see if I don't apply enough water. Okay, so that's nice and wet. You can see that the ink has reacted to the paper. The water has reacted to the ink even. So I'm just going to lay down my paper, and you can see it's going to get messy. So this is one point where a glass board is perfect. Now I've run out of kitchen towel, so I'm using some napkin here that I have multiples of, and I've already kind of cut up to use for something. So, like I said, just give that a good press down. You could use a brayer if you wanted to. Spread it about. You want to use colours of a similar tone because otherwise you may get some quite muddy effects. And there you go, that's our first one. Now I really like them. They would look, beautiful if you were doing an under the sea journal, for example. So I'm just going to give this a wipe. If you're using cling film, this probably is going to be a little bit more difficult. You might need to refresh your cling film, but with this kind of plastic you can just give it a wipe and move straight on. So now we're going to do one with some pinks. And then I'm going to show you one more little thing, and then that's this quick create will be done. But this is just a great way to make some fun backgrounds to use for different projects. Right, okay, I don't have a whole range of colours. Oh, that's quite bright, isn't it? Let's get that down here. Now I think what I might do is maybe add a little bit of the old peacock blue in amongst some of this. Like I said, you don't have to be any kind of artist to do this. but you get a great effect. And if I'm wearing white trousers for this, which is probably not the best idea. You can see this pink over here might not work quite as well. I'm going to make sure I'm getting plenty of water on there. Okay. Not working particularly well. There's plenty of water in it. There we go. This one might not work quite as well as the blues did. But then again, we've now got all of this that we can pick up with our paper if we need to. Let's have a look. No, that hasn't worked quite as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just dab it around this ink that's come out of the similar technique to if you're using distress inks. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray the actual paper in this case, and I'm just going to leave that, and hopefully this will bleed a little bit more before it dries. But again, if you're using this as a background for an ATC card, for example, I think that's going to look pretty cool. There we go. So that's the pinks. You're obviously going to have to experiment with your pens and your ink and see what you get. Now with these, the pack, basically what happened is the pens were faulty. A lot of the nibs were not in the pens when they arrived, and they were very nice. Sent me another set and they didn't want the old set back. So what I did was I bought some spray bottles and some alcohol ink. No, alcohol 100%. No, it was, I think I used about 70% alcohol rubbing stuff, you know, for your legs or arms or whatever you use it on. I've never used alcohol rub, but you can buy it apparently. So what I did was, if I show you one of these, you might even be able to see. Yeah, I've left mine in. There's lots of tutorials on how to do this, but basically I just filled the, but I didn't use any of the recipes, any of the you know, the you must do it this way. I literally filled the bottle with the rubbing alcohol, and then I took the innards out of these pens. I just literally pulled the grey bit off and took out the ink applicatory bit, whatever you call that. I plonked it in the bottle and I've just left it there. That's all I did. I didn't follow any recipe. Now if you do these, make these sprays, you'll get an even more intense background. So let's just spray a little bit on there, take our card, and this looks very different to the, it's obviously because of the alcohol, and also the alcohol is now going to react to the ink that's on my plastic. So you can see you're going to get, this looks awesome, I'm loving that, and it's picked up all the old ink, so that's pretty cool. I'm just going to spray another colour on here. I'm just going to plonk that back down. So there are no rules, there are no good or bad ways to do this. You can spray directly onto the paper and you'll get yet another different effect. Now, you know, if you're one of these people who have to follow rules, then, you know, go ahead. There are hundreds of tutorials on how to make alcohol inks using this type of marker. But like I said, I've had these made for at least 6 months now. I don't think the innards being in the bottle is doing any damage, and I certainly didn't use any recipe. I just literally, you can see the size difference in the bottles. You know, this is obviously not going to be as intense as this one, but this one actually, I think this is the one. No, that one's okay. There was one I did with a colour that just didn't seem to. Oh, that's the grey. That seemed a little bit on the boring side to me. But there you go. I've used these on fabrics too. You know, I've wet the fabrics first and then sprayed them. Looks amazing. That's just our quick create for today. Just some really quick ideas for how to make your backgrounds. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.